I used to be the queen of cancelling plans. If I got an invitation to a party or any social event, I would dread it for weeks, convinced that I was going to be judged for every little thing. My social anxiety was so bad, it felt like I was almost watching my own life right from the sidelines. That horrible knot in your stomach before a party, replaying conversations in your head for hours, sure that you said something wrong. That was my normal. But then I stumbled across a really simple journaling method that honestly changed everything. So I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I use to understand my anxiety and finally start enjoying life again. I'm Natalie, Community Manager at Reorigin, a science-based brain retraining program that helps people rewire anxious and overactive stress responses. I've seen countless people, myself included, go from feeling trapped in cycles of fear, fatigue, to genuinely living again. And what I'm about to share with you here is a technique that not only transformed my own relationship with social anxiety, but it's also aligned with the neuroplasticity tools that we teach inside of Reorigin. Social anxiety isn't just about being shy, it's a thief. It steals opportunities, friendships, and connections. And for me, it was a vicious cycle. I'd feel anxious about something, so I would avoid it. And that avoidance gave me a quick second of relief. But in the long run, it just made the anxiety even stronger for the next time. It proved to my brain that I couldn't handle it. I missed out on birthdays and just simple fun moments because of the fear of what others might think of me. It was just too loud in my head. I felt trapped in my own thoughts, constantly worried about blushing, or my mind going totally blank the second someone talked to me or asked me a question. It was absolutely exhausting, and I knew that I just couldn't keep living like this. My journey started with a pen and a notebook. I know it sounds way too simple, but journaling was the first real step that I took to get my power back. I started what I call a trigger log. Every time that I felt a wave of social anxiety, I'd pull out my notebook and write down the date, the situation, and the exact thought blasting through my mind. This wasn't just about ranting on a page, it was like becoming a detective, and my own anxiety was the case that I needed to crack. And you know what? I actually started to see patterns relatively quickly. It wasn't just parties that scared me. It was that specific fear of walking into a big group and not knowing who to talk to. It wasn't actually public speaking, it was the terror of being asked questions and not knowing the answer right there on the spot. And this self-monitoring gave me so much clarity. For the first time, my anxiety wasn't this big, scary monster anymore. It was a collection of specific and identifiable fears. And if I could identify them, I could start taking them apart. Once you know what your triggers are, the next step is to challenge those negative thoughts. This is where you learn to talk back to that critical voice in your head. And it's a core part of a technique called cognitive restructuring. My journal was full of thoughts like, everyone here thinks I'm really awkward, or if I say the wrong thing, I'm going to be completely humiliated. The trick here is to start questioning these thoughts instead of just accepting them as the truth. I learned to ask myself two game-changing questions. Is this thought based on fact or just feelings? And what is a more balanced and realistic way to look at this? I'll give you an example. Instead of everyone thinks I'm awkward, I would challenge it with, I feel awkward right now, but I can't read minds. Realistically, most people are actually probably focused on themselves. Again, this isn't about forcing yourself into toxic positivity. It's about replacing those warped and critical thoughts with ones that are far more realistic and a little bit more compassionate. You stop being your own worst critic and start becoming your own coach. Okay, so understanding your thoughts is huge, but the real magic happens when you start to take action. This is where you gently and gradually expose yourself to the things that scare you. Think of it like running manageable, little social experiments to prove your anxious thoughts wrong. The key is to start so small that you can build momentum. Don't dive in right away going to a massive party. Start with something that feels just a tiny bit uncomfortable. For me, that just meant making eye contact with the cashier at the grocery store and casually saying, "Have a great day." Next week, my goal was to then give a stranger a quick, low-stake compliment on their dog. I love dogs. Easy for me to practice this. Then I practice asking a simple question in a group chat. Each time I did one of those little challenges, the world didn't end, and it was another piece of evidence fighting back against my anxiety. It literally retrains your brain to understand that these situations are not threats. This process builds real earned confidence that comes from action, not just trying to think positively. These are the strategies that took me from hiding from the world to actually looking forward to social events. It's a process for sure, but it all starts with that one small step. So now I want to hear from you. What is the one tiny social experiment that you could try this week? Drop it in the comments below. Your story might be the spark that inspires someone else. And if you're ready to go deeper into rewiring anxiety at the root, not just managing your symptoms, check out reorigin.com. It's a neuroscience-based program that helps you retrain the fear pathways driving anxiety, fatigue, and chronic stress step by step. Remember, overcoming social anxiety is a journey, not a race, and it starts with understanding your triggers, moves on to challenging your inner critic, and becomes real when those small, consistent actions are taken. You don't have to let fear run your life. You have the power to change these patterns one small step at a time. You are capable of so much more than your anxiety wants you to believe, and you can get your life back. If you're ready to begin, join us now at reorigin.com, where thousands of people are already retraining their brains and reclaiming their confidence.